Shows.
Connecticut's #1 gospel internet radio station on a beautiful but cold Thursday evening. And we are live in the studio. I'm Jerry Green. And every Thursday we try to bring in a special guest, someone who's a blessing to the body of Christ and also to our community. And tonight we have Brother Stash Millward. Am I saying Millward. He's our special guest this evening. And also we have my man, Dr. Wayne McCray, all right, the CEO of Acton First Broadcast. What's up, my brother? God bless you.
All right, God bless, man. How you doing, Dr. Jerry?
I am blessed, man. It's good to see you. It's cold outside.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Well, we know it's December, and let's welcome our guest, Brother Stash. How you doing, my man? God bless you.
I'm doing great.
You're doing great. All right. It's good to have you in the studio live. All right. And we're going to talk about your upbringing. You said you was born and raised in Hartford, Connecticut.
Born and raised Hartford, Connecticut.
So what was it like growing up in Hartford, my friend? The capital city of Connecticut. What was it like growing up in Hartford?
It was nice.
Okay.
Because we grew up in the bottom.
Okay.
Near the downtown, so it was nice. Diverse group of people.
Okay.
So I really, really enjoyed my neighborhood before they wiped us out.
Before they wiped it out?
Before they wiped us out.
Okay. So I mean, in your teenage years, what was it like, man? I mean, you're a grown man now, so obviously, you stayed out of trouble, to make it where you are today, because a lot of people I know that ran with us, they're not here today. So what was your secret for success, man, to become the man you are today?
I don't know. I think it was sports.
Okay.
And
so what kind of sports you played? I mean, basketball, baseball, football?
I'm still a legend, man, in Hartford, basketball.
Oh, all right. Okay. A legend. All right, you hear that word, right?
Yeah.
I'm a legend in my own mind.
So what year you graduated?
1969.
1969. Wow. Okay. And you graduated with Super John and them. Yeah. Like
John
graduated.
He was behind me.
John Williamson. He wasn't that much behind you, because
he was like maybe
Super John.
Two years behind me.
Oh, well, no, he wasn't that, because I graduated in 73.
Yeah,
and John, when I was a freshman, he was a senior. All right, he went to Wilbur Cross, I went to Lehigh. And I remember when John put 55 points on us at Lehigh, all right, and he was a senior. Then Jiggy came in right after that. His brother Jiggy came in at Wilbur Cross. But anyway, it's 1969. That was a great year, man. All right, now Stash, let's talk about. You started out in Hartford as well. You was into radio broadcasting.
Yeah, I had a radio talk show called Brother with an Attitude.
Okay.
And it was just one of those type of programs where we could discuss the challenging issues facing the African American people on a regular day-to-day basis.
Okay. So who was some of your, since you had a talk show, I guess you had some special guests that was on your show. Who were some of the guests that you had? I know I'm going to bring up Marcus Garvey Jr., but who's any other guests you had that was significant and that made a difference in the community?
We had, let's see, Danielle Knox.
Okay.
Danielle Knox, she was a anchor person on NBC.
Okay, good. So what made you get into radio, even a talk show? I mean, something had to lead you in that direction. You like talking, you like being a blessing to the people, interviewing or just receiving knowledge from folks.
Well, actually, I was asked by the owner of the station to come up with a program. And,
okay.
So we created Brother with an Attitude, which isn't a bad attitude. It's just the fact that we were able to talk about things that other people wouldn't speak truth to power. You know
okay.
What I mean?
Okay. Brothers with an Attitude. Now, I was listening earlier this morning with the interview with Marcus Garvey Jr.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the grandson of Marcus Garvey, right?
That was the son.
Oh, the son. I'm sorry, the son. Okay, the son. Let's talk about that interview and how did that come about? I
just happened to be, doing some taping in the studio, and the receptionist came in and said, "Stash, man here that's looking for one of the other talk show hosts." And I said, "Well, who is it?" Marcus Garvey or something? And I'm going like, what?
Right.
What?
You heard of Marcus Garvey. That person probably, right, that was kind of new to that person.
Yeah, so when I went out there, I met him standing there, and I felt bad because he should have been, the person that invited him should have been there to welcome him.
Right.
So I felt kind of bad about it. So I said, well, maybe she's on her way. Let's, we'll go and sit down and maybe we can take some things.
Right.
So we just sat down and turned the reel on, and we just started talking. I started asking him so many questions, out of curiosity.
Right.
And it turned out to be one of the best interviews that he said he ever had in his life.
Well, I mean, that's a credit to you then. That's a big credit. I mean, especially if on the fly, you wasn't prepared to do it, and the person that's supposed to do it never showed up. So it's going to show, man. That was a blessing, man.
It was.
So what was it like, man, being attached to Marcus Garvey Jr., man? I mean, his father was legendary. He was the Dr. King and the Malcolm X before there was a Dr. King or Malcolm X. What was it like, man, being a part of that, man?
I was, I don't know. I was curious, and the conversation just went on its own. It took a life of its own, and I learned so much about his dad, and asked so many questions because here he is, the son of Marcus Garvey Jr.
Right.
And I'm like, well, I want to know everything.
Right.
So we just talked for about an hour, and it turned out to be,
praise God, man.
Just turned out to be a great interview.
Well, I mean, and that's what talk radio is all about, man. You should try to get the best up there, and you try to get all the information you can from that person. It's like I'm getting it from you. You're my guest tonight, all right, on Action First broadcast. Now, you mentioned something about rap music, man. But what's your affiliation with rap music?
That was one of our shows we did because we were talking about gangster rap.
Gangster rap, okay.
And how gangster rap was affecting our community. So
in a negative or a positive?
It was in a negative way because what we found out years ago was that the record industry was using gangster rap in order to create the pipeline for prisons.
Okay.
So a lot of people didn't know that, but they were really promoting, the gangster rap.
Okay, so let me ask you a question because I wasn't too much at that time. I was in church, so I didn't know too much about the Tupac and the Biggie. So would you say that was part of that West Coast, East Coast? Is that what that's because they just celebrated 50 years of hip hop. I think BET as a song. I didn't watch it, but I know they were promoting it. 50 years, that's a long time, but is that have something to do with that East Coast, West Coast you're talking about when they was doing all that?
Well, all I know was that the record industry was promoting gangster rap
Okay.
in order to, in effect, build the pipeline for young black, men to end up in prisons that they owned, that they were developing prisons, and the rap music was kind of feeding into the youth culture, and they didn't even know what was going on, but it was just devastating, I think, to a lot of these young kids.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. I mean, that was, and mainly the biggest. I think rap was big in the '90s. Would you say? Was that the biggest during that era in the '90s? Then it got, of course, bigger in the 2000s. But the '90s, it was really big. When the first, I'll say that was the heyday of it.
Yeah.
All right, in the '90s. Now, was you doing radio then? You were doing radio then, right?
Yes.
Okay, during that time.
I was doing my talk show.
Okay. All right. Now, also, I understand that you are a part of the Greater Hartford Center for Economics, Social Justice. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Well, that's an organization it's a Washington, D.C. based organization called the Center for Economic and Social Justice.
Okay.
And Hartford is the only other chapter in Connecticut. And it's pretty much just part of understanding that we need to have social justice, and you need to have people that are really involved with making sure that the things that we need in our communities are being taken care of, and a lot of it is not.
So what are some of the things that you feel that we can use in our community that will help?
Job creation.
Okay. And that's like small businesses, owning your own business, would you say?
I think big businesses.
Big businesses.
We're thinking about ownership.
Okay. And I asked that question because I live in the hill section in New Haven, and not just the hill section, but it's kind of getting all over. The Mexicans and the Spaniards that took over, right? We can't blame nobody but ourselves, because we was there first, right? Now, is it because we don't have the mindset of being an entrepreneur, or would you say it's because we had a chance to segregate or whatever with the big stores that we forgot about our own? How would you say that?
To me, it's a little of both, because one thing that we are, mostly as people, we're consumers instead of producers. So we're always kind of like being the people that pay into whatever it is that someone else is selling us, in the community. So it becomes like, we need to be, the term HNIC about how we actually are going to, benefit our communities. And so.
See, because I mentioned my dad had a store on Dixon Avenue. At that time in the 60s, he started in 62 and we closed in 77. And at that time, Dixon Avenue was the spot, right? Because why? Because a lot of blacks couldn't go to those other stores, all right? It was still a lot of discrimination, right? So blacks, we built our own. We had our own clothing stores, we had our own shoe stores, we had our own barber shops, which we still got today, but Spanish taking over those. But we had our own record shops. We had whatever we wanted, our own clubs, restaurants. What's going on now? What happened? Why would you say, we don't have, it ain't really too much, nothing that we can say we have in New Haven anymore.
Let me just jump in there for a second, because that's a good thought, and it takes more input for discussion. One of the things I see that, and if you notice in the community, like the Hispanics, the Asian, man, they'll pile up in one house and save their money, and they bring those resources together, like you were saying, where the economically, we're more apt to spend. We're the consumers, we're right. We're prone to spend instead of where that they will stack and build up equity in economics and stack for currency, right? To be able to buy those properties, and they equipped each other like, they're staying in one house.
Yeah.
And then you have about 4 or 5 families in that one house.
Yeah, when they
but
first come
they're
over.
but they're saving that money, and then they establish the businesses and they pull those resources together.
Right. Plus,
And that's how they build the economical power.
Plus, to their credit, now I never been over to Puerto Rico. I never been there. I do want to go visit, but they have their own land. So most likely over there, they got business over there. So only thing they're doing is bringing their economic and their knowledge from there over here, right? Because they're used to doing it over there, all right? I mean, but with us, we started it because, like I said, at one time we couldn't go, even with the clubs. We had the Monterey back on Dixon, the soundtrack. We had different nightclubs. Right?
Snow chicken.
Right, snow chicken. Right. See now, but then once we was able to go to these other clubs, just take the Apollo Theater for example. In New York back in the day, that's the only place blacks could go to was the Apollo Theater. So the Apollo Theater back then in the 50s, the 40s, it was booming because they couldn't go to downtown, to different spots. So blacks can do it. It's just that why are we not doing it today? All right. I mean, the entrepreneurship spirit, it just left for some reason. Now some still trying. So you're talking about developing job creation. So let's talk about some of the things you think that we can do to get that mindset back.
Well, I'm focused specifically on ownership.
Ownership, okay.
If you own, it's like own or be owned.
Okay.
Okay. And part of the Center for Economic and Social Justice is start, thinking about what you can actually do that you own, because if you own it, then you can employ more people than if you get a job.
Right.
And so the things that we look for are the things that have like national appeal. So I'll give you an example. Like we're developing environmentally friendly building materials.
Okay.
And with those building materials, obviously, we can train people on the installation of those materials.
Right.
We can actually create jobs for the manufacturing, for the sales, the marketing, the distribution, all of that under one umbrella of a product.
Okay.
So the other products that we would have control and ownership of are agricultural products. Insect repellents,
okay,
manufacturing those types of things, and be able to sell and export.
Okay.
Import the materials that we need, export, do trade between African nations and countries, the urban centers. So we're focused on community economic development.
Okay.
Where the community is empowered by the fact that we are doing the things that create jobs, create financial literacy, make money.
Make money, right?
Okay,
so that's what it's all about. That's what a white man do. He making money.
Exactly. So it's black capitalism at its finest.
Right. Yeah. Right. I mean, because like this is my station. This is something because I was raised by with entrepreneurship. Because my dad had a store, and I had my own record store too. Back in the 90s, I had in the 2000s, had my own gospel shop. So I know about starting your own business and owning and that's what we need to get back into, right? And stop blaming everybody else. Why we're not doing it?
Because if you own the business, you're gonna be the last one to get fired.
And that's right. Now, what about concerts? I know we was talking about you like to promote concerts, or you.
I did.
Okay.
I got involved with the use of vacant park lots in the city. I'm sure it's same in New Haven. All of the Caucasian folks are leaving, and
Right.
So we wanted to use the parking lots to do community events.
Okay.
Reggae music.
Right.
We could do Latino salsa events and stuff like that. So we started to do that. We just took over the parking lots over the weekends and stuff like that, and we brought in different acts from Puerto Rico, Buju Banton or somebody from Jamaica and the rest of that. So,
Okay.
plus we control the food and beverage concessions.
All right, this is Action First Broadcast. I'm Jerry Green along with Dr. Wayne McCray, and we have as our special guest, Brother Stas Millwood. I saying it right this time? Huh?
Millward.
Okay, I thought I had it right. Okay, Millward. He's our special guest this evening, and brother doing a great job in our community, and we're going to talk more about what he's doing. Now, you also a real estate consultant. Did I get that right? Development. Okay, let's talk about that a little bit. If anybody that wants knowledge on that.
Well, a lot of people don't understand development. It starts with feasibility, and development is basically whatever you build has to be feasible.
Okay.
You oftentimes you find people just building things and they end up like not being. They don't work. I mean, like they build these buildings and then all of a sudden they say that it's going to be this, it's going to be that. Then at the end of the day, they're pretty much vacant,
right?
Or it doesn't live up to it because they didn't develop with the three fundamentals of which is very important in real estate development. Is whatever you want to build has to be market feasible, it has to be design feasible, and it has to be financially feasible, and it has to be simultaneous, because if you don't have that feasibility, it's not going to work.
It's not going to work.
It's not going to work.
Right. And a lot of people try it, but like I said, it does.
And they put them up, but the point is that you can see that the after effect, what they call absorption, is like, so what? The retail's all, vacant.
Right.
Right. So because they're doing luxury apartments, and you don't need just luxury apartment, you need home ownership.
There you go.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. If you own your own, yeah, you gotta get your own, man.
Right. That's so true. We see now in the downtown area, they're building more housing, and the retail, business is real low. You have a lot of different companies that are folding up now. We see CVS, they are closing up a lot. And I think that, some of that is dealing with because of, a lot of things happen to the businesses where they lose their inventory,
right,
and different things like that. So, that plays a big role. A lot of people, they return things, and stuff like that. So that part of the economic development, those are things that can hurt a business too.
Yeah. A lot of people don't understand, like, economic development, the way it's practiced in the cities and the urban cities, is not community economic development. Because the community has to benefit from that development.
That's it.
They're bringing in people to develop,
right,
in order to profit off of you being homeless and need an apartment. And it's not the same, because at the end of the day, if you're not empowering your community, like I said, you're just out there, being victimized.
Right. And the point, and it's showing, like you said, the proof is in the pudding, because a lot of the developers that they are contracting the money to, they don't live in our community.
No.
They're not from this area. So when they build, that money is not being circulated back into our community. It's going elsewhere. It's going out. And so that's why with that development process, so, that's why we need to have more developers within our region, but they're not giving the developers within our community that chance, for whatever reason. But, you have a lot of those developers, that money, when they come and develop the apartment complexes and stuff, there's none of that money's being spent here. The businesses are going without. So they have to develop a way where that the developers that come in, that money is put back into our community.
Well, but Dr. Wayne, in your opinion, what can we do, right, as a people and as a community, to open up the eyes of the folks, man, to get them to understand but he's talking about how important it is to be an owner, and empower yourself.
Well, I truly believe it is if it starts with the contracts and being able to have our people that's within the community, that they don't give them so much red tape that they're not able to acquire those contracts.
Okay.
And that's where we splight, and that's where we fall short, because the opportunities, it's too much red tape that goes through to be able to acquire those contracts. And so, that money is going to go elsewhere, for those that are more, are able to meet, the contracts.
Let me give you an example. Let me give you an example in Hartford. All of the major skyscrapers are being converted to residential housing in the downtown. There's an example of 777 Main Street, which used to be a bank, huge 40-story building. That entire building was converted into 225 apartments. They were subsidized by the tune of $350,000 per unit. Now, if you don't understand the numbers, it's crazy, because it's the people that come in to make the profits. They're subsidized to be able to rent luxury apartments to people that are probably not from the community,
right?
Because the community can't afford $1,500 a month for a studio. Okay, but they continue to keep doing that, and it leads to the gentrification on steroids. Because at the end of the day, what our community needs is to have home ownership. And just as an example, those 225 units that they built and got subsidized for $350,000 per, none of those were 3 or 4 bedroom homes. They're 1,200 at the most square foot apartments, which means that they could have used that money and created 225 or more homes in the community. But the people that are coming in, when you're talking to them, they're the ones that are controlling the money. The red tape that you're talking about is not red when it's there. It's red for us. For them, it's green. It's like, it's fast tracked. And it just keeps continuing and continuing. And if we don't understand that it's really about ownership of the deal and controlling the deal, like something like that, when you're building something and say, well, no, we're not going to do 225, units of apartments. We're going to do 225 homes, affordable. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's not happening.
I'm going to switch gears a little bit. You told me you're a father of 4, right?
Yeah.
So how difficult is it today, man, would you say, with technology and, with social media, raising kids today, man? I mean, you told me your kids are you're very proud of them, which you should be.
No, I got good kids, but see, my kids are grown now. My oldest is, she was born in 1977.
Wow.
And then my son.
Yeah, mine's old too.
My son was born in 83. And my youngest was born in like 91, so they're grown.
They're grown kids.
Yeah, and they're good kids.
Okay, so if someone trying to raise your kids today, what advice would you give, especially a dad? Because I hear a lot of, I'm not saying excuses, but I hear a lot of people is raised without their father in their life and all that. In our community, which affects our community, a single parent, mother trying to raise kids. What advice would you give, a dad, man? Because it's got to be, if you're proud of your kids, like you say you are, and I'm proud of mine, and they did good, you did something good.
Well, I remember this program that a young lady had called Dads Make a Difference.
Okay, Dad makes a difference. Okay.
Yeah, and they do,
Without a doubt.
And it's just unfortunate that at the end of the day, it's going to always be about the money. And for dads to be able to take care of their families, their children, their households and stuff like that. So, I don't know. I can't even be commenting on that because I don't really.
Right.
I'm not faced with that, but I understand like too many single women head of households is really not.
I mean, but as fathers, we do play an important role because kids they're gonna love their dad, right? No matter how what kind of dad he is, they're gonna love their dad, and that's dad because they know something missing. They got mommy and they know something is missing, right? And that's their dad.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Dads do make a difference.
It makes
They got to be in the household,
right?
Yeah,
So Brother Stosh, what keeps you motivated and encouraged, man, to do what you do, man?
I get up and I get up every day, praise God, and then I just go at it.
Okay.
I keep it simple.
Just go at it. Yeah.
I just go at it. I have a lot of entrepreneurial pursuits, and I have a pretty good network of people,
Okay.
around the country, and so I'm able to, kind of like I said, being a serial entrepreneur, we can look at something and say, this is what I want to do, and then you do it.
Okay.
And then you do something else, but you just keep it moving.
And on that note, let me jump in one more time because he's a humble brother, man, and I got a lot of respect for Brother Stosh and his networking abilities. Just talk about a little bit about the relationship with Gayle King and Oprah. Share a little bit of that.
I mean, I just know Gayle as a friend. I don't even know Oprah. I do know Gayle because she was a broadcaster in Hartford for years. I know her children. I've been to her home and that sort of thing.
Big. That's big.
Watching the Super Bowl, and then all of a sudden you're watching the Super Bowl, somebody kicks off, and then get a phone call, and then he just says, "Hey, Oprah's on the phone."
Okay, that's big.
You know what I mean? It's like you are, wow, So, but Gayle is just a good person. And, we know her better. We know her better than just being Oprah's best friend.
Yeah, but how many people get a chance, Dr. Wayne, to interview Marcus Garvey's Jr.?
Come on, man.
Marcus Garvey's son. And,
I
mean, come on. Yeah. I mean, all the people I've
that was by design.
Yeah, that was by design. The person didn't show up, all right, for a reason. Now, you was in there, then nobody would have interviewed him. You had to be at the right place at the right time.
See, that was a gift, man.
That's what I'm saying.
I knew that. I said, this is something else. It was like the best. It was the best experience of my life because it was so spontaneous, and I got so much out of it. And it changed. And that interview changed my life.
Okay. Now, out of all your accomplishments, what would you say one of the most one that really you're most excited about, or the one you're most proud of?
Well, I'm always endeavoring to keep on accomplishing things. So I think right now what we're working on right now is arena STEM development and arena STEM development using science and technology and math and trying to educate some of these young people and kind of move them away from the video gaming and start educating them with the STEM programming versus the combat, whatever it is. I don't even know what they're playing with nowadays and stuff, but I just know that they spend too much time on these video games and they need to be focusing more on things that will actually help them
develop.
Right. And I thank God for Stosh being on the team, because what we're doing, we're engaging them because of career path. And that's important now because as they're being developed in school, and now STEM is a good tool, but there's a full scope that needs to be tapped into. And what we've developed, I call it whole stream, because a whole number is an integrate. You have to integrate a whole number for a completion, right? And that's a full circle. And so we have to bring them back because everything goes around what comes around. So that's why we call it a full stream. And the STREAM acronym, they already use STEAM with science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. But we use STREAM, where it's science, technology, robotics, engineering, aviation, and math. Because things are going to shift. Our babies, we got to get their mind, and they're already, I call them the Infomil Similac generation. And those that are gamers, they're halfway there. They just need to learn the term, the terminology because becoming a unmanned piloting drone operator, the Part 107, that's a certification where that they can make good money and feed their family.
Right.
And then but they have to know the airspace. It's the lane. They got to know the flight area, the restricted areas where that they're not supposed to fly in, and also the weather condition with the cloud structures, because that is key in aviation. So, and then as we see now, by 2050, there's going to you'll be able to, instead of jumping into an Uber or Lyft in a car, you'll be jumping into an Uber or Lyft in the sky. These things are happening now, and it's right around the corner. So, our kids are the ones we got to better equip them, because a lot of entry jobs are going to be obsolete because of the robots going to be handling those things. But they need coders. And our babies that's in middle school right now, that's that generation that needs to be better equipped, when they come home. And then that's why we have to, as parenting, we have to go a little further and being able to have some knowledge and understand of things, because it's the baby boomers, the ones that were just partying and that lifestyle. It's more that we have to engage our kids in now. Life ain't a party all day.
That's right. That's right.
It's a real world, and things are evolving and changing. So we have to spark their interests and get their minds engaged to what's coming. We can't be like the Flintstones anymore.
All right.
Amen.
Dr. Wayne.
Yes,
now,
sir.
Before I let you go, Brother Stout, what advice has someone given you as a young man growing up that helped develop you into the man you become today? Someone give you a nice piece of advice?
Well, it's probably my mom.
Okay.
She lived to be 100 years old.
Wow. Okay, so my mom's 95, so yeah.
And her grandmother, my great grandmother, lived to be 102.
Mm.
Her dad lived to be 102. And he didn't even take care of himself.
But he still lives a long life.
But I think what it really is really about faith.
Okay.
Really keeping the faith, doing the right things, being persistent, being a good, it's just the quality of life, knowing that, you just got to just try to be a good person.
There you go.
Just keep it simple, keep it straight, keep it the way you want to be treated.
There you go.
Yeah.
And that's good advice you give somebody else as well. Now, we got you on this show. I know people watching, listening. If someone wanted to get in contact with you, you have a contact number, because you give us some good nuggets tonight.
Well, I would say probably it's best to contact me by my email.
Okay.
And it is Stosh,
okay,
at ghcesj.org.
Okay. Wow, man. Well, first of all, it's a blessing having you, in the radio tonight on the Action First broadcast. Dr. Wayne, you have any other things you want to add to Brother Stosh?
Well, it's always an honor and privilege to have those to come through the room, that are in tune at the Capitol, and and your labor, your entrepreneurship, your due diligence to engage in the community. I commend you on that, brother. And you're paving the ground not just for yourself, but to show others there is a pathway that's designed, and it's by design. So we must continue to lead the people in the right way and encourage those that are coming behind us, and where that their grounds can be more sturdier.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. All right. Well, it's definitely a pleasure to have you live in the studio, brother. And hopefully that you and I can come back in and give us some more nuggets, man. Because our people, we can use all the positive information that we can get. All right. I mean, especially when people that's actually doing something. All right. And it's good to have you, man. All right. So we're going to let Dr. Wayne close us out with his famous, Action First broadcast close out.
Amen. Well, listen, only thing I can say at this time, I want to thank you for taking Action First with us here at W.J.R.G. Internet Radio Station and Action First broadcast. And we want you to continue to take action first. So can you say this with me? Say action first.
All right. Now back to some more great gospel music. And I want to thank Dr. Wayne and Brother Stosh for being a part of Action First broadcast. I'm Jerry Green at W.J.R.G, your favorite choice